Hello. This is my 40th interview. This has been such a great thing to be able to share with other people. So I hope you're enjoying it. Be sure to review it on wherever you listen to your podcast. It totally makes a difference, and encourage friends and family to review and like it as well. Next episode is really special. I am participating in what is called the Podcastathon. And during this week of March 16th, there will be thousands and thousands of podcasts throughout the world that will be broadcasting information about charities and nonprofits and giving. So I would encourage you to listen to podcasts this week and learn about different charities that you can be a part of. I have interviewed Svetlana Miller, who is the founder of To Ukraine with Love, which provides housing in particular to refugees in Ukraine. It was an incredible interview, and you're not going to want to miss it. Now, listen to what's coming up in this episode of the Sendy Mom Podcast.
And oftentimes it's just strangers, but there's like a safety in it that is just really, it's a really beautiful experience, and it's unifying. I feel like sometimes we're alone in this busy world, even though we have all these relationships. We just long for a connection. It's just this really sacred time where we package it for people so that they can have this, and then they go away just feeling replenished and connected and hopefully having some inspiration and things like that.
I'm Becky Brouwer, and I'm a Sendy Mom. Welcome to the Sendy Mom Podcast. Welcome to the Sendy Mom Podcast. I am really excited to be here with Brittney Barney today, and she is the author of a book that I just recently finished called Becoming a Mighty Prayer, and I totally recommend it to anyone who wants to increase their connection with deity. So really some great suggestions in there, and some good stories and things to remember. So we're going to kind of unpack that a little bit, but I'll introduce Brittney. She is a certified forest therapy guide, which I'm super excited to find out a little bit more about what that entails. She's also, like I said, an author. She's trained in mindful awareness in nature and everyday living. She enjoys experimenting with mindful practices and communication strategies and prayer to be closer to God. She also teaches music in 2 private schools, and she launches different programs I've just found out about for writing for students. And she's also the mother of 7 children. So she is a very busy woman and keeps herself active and doing a lot of things, which is pretty much the definition of being Sendy. Sometimes you just have to go listen to those promptings and go, which Brittney does quite often, it sounds like, with traveling by herself around the world and writing a book if it feels like that's what you need to do, and then also in learning about how to minister to each of her children individually, and receiving those kind of promptings that we all need sometimes as parents to teach our children. So super Sendy, super happy to have you here, Brittney, with us, and to get to know you a little bit better.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So Brittney was first introduced to me by my good friend, Sherry Gavin.
Sherry, she was doing a project and looking for submissions for recipes. And so I submitted a poem that I wrote about my great-grandma's hot fudge recipe. And then we just started talking, and then I told her about my book. So then she read it, and then she recommended you. And so that's just kind of how, yeah.
Is that how it always, this is how we get to know people, right? Just being willing to reach out and to just say something and do it immediately. There's no reason why you need to wait. If it works, then you just jump on it. Most people are trying to do good things in the world, and we want to promote that as much as possible. So,
yeah, for sure.
What do you think it means to be Sendy, and what do you think makes you a Sendy mom?
Okay, so I actually was quite nervous about this because I was listening, to your definition of Sendy, and I was like, that is not me. That is not me. I don't like taking risks. I'm very cautious. I don't like going out of my comfort zone. But, as I thought about it, I thought about just the times in my life. Like, I feel like the only time I'm Sendy is when God is nudging me to do that. And for me, that's hugely Sendy, because that is a huge risk, going out of your comfort zone and having to trust that it's going to be okay, that God's got you, you know? And so then I was like, okay, I totally am. Being Sendy is just going outside of your comfort zone and following your gut intuition and those promptings and doing things that stretch you, that are scary, but you do it anyway and you learn and grow from it. And that's kind of what it looks like in my life. The little things of like, I guess this is a big thing, but trying to go gluten-free for my daughter to see if that helps her better. That was a big little thing, but big. Or the prompting that I had to go visit my cousin in Switzerland and then go to Rome by myself. I'm a homebody. I love being home. So I was like, really? I need to do that? That was just huge.
Well, and I don't think you're alone. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that, especially travel, can be really frightening. That there's rules. Different countries have different rules about coming into the country and what if something happens. So that's huge. To just kind of trust the process and just go one step at a time can be really helpful. So how cool. So tell me a little bit about your background, like how you were raised, where you were raised, like your family dynamic, and maybe some of the things that your parents encouraged you to do so that you could get out of your comfort zone.
So I was born and raised in southeastern Idaho, a small town called Shelley. It's just in between like Rexburg and Idaho. And
I know Shelley. I grew up in Twin Falls, so we're Idaho girls. I love it.
So that's funny. So, okay, yeah. So Shelley, that's where, just a small town. We grew up there, and I'm the second oldest of 5 kids. I have an older brother, and then me, and then 3 younger sisters.
Great.
So I took the mother role in the family, taking care of my sisters, and we grew up in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and my dad was a leader in the church for a long time, and so the gospel was taught in our home, and we practiced living it. We desired to live the standards and those principles. So my parents, I feel like they are cautious too. I would have if I could have, I would have just sat in my room all day, every day, reading or playing the piano. That's where I would spend my time.
Oh my gosh, Brittney, we have lived parallel lives. I'm the second oldest of 12, so I'm a little bit bigger, but I totally took on that mother role too, and I totally loved it. Like babysitting all those little kids was just my dream. I just wanted to have little babies around me all the time. So, and I play the piano too, and I love just sitting that's all I wanted to do is play the piano and read books. So I love this.
That's so funny.
Got so much in common.
Yeah.
So let's go back though to, your feeling like you're mothering your younger siblings. How did you feel about that? And what was that experience for you?
Well, I think that I did love it. There was definitely different dynamics. My next youngest sister, and so we shared a bedroom, but there were times when she would have nightmares. And so I would jump down off my top bunk bed and walk her upstairs, to my parents at night when it was dark and she was afraid and things like that. And I just think that, and then my youngest sister, she's about 7 years younger than me. Even now, I still feel that mothering role of caring for them and reaching out. And when she had her last baby, I flew down and helped take care of her and our baby. And I did love it. And I love creating relationships and finding that personal one-on-one connection. And so I really tried to do that as we were growing up as well.
All right. And then how about the piano? Is that something that you pursued for a while and still love to do, or what's that journey been like?
Yeah. So my mom was our piano teacher. So we all started when we were really young. I think I was maybe 5 or 6, and took piano lessons for years, took through high school from another piano teacher. And then I didn't do any music in college or anything, but I continued to play the piano and taught piano lessons. And to me, that is one way of working through emotions and stress. And so it's just like a core, practice in my life to help me balance things and reground and things like that.
Well, and one of the prayers that you talk about in your book too is musical prayers. And I can totally relate to that. Sometimes just sitting down to the piano and playing, it's like, that's how God speaks to me.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, that's amazing. Really good. Okay, so tell me about your journey after high school.
Yeah, I was a senior and my cousin had a birthday party and she had like, there were some high school kids in a rock band and she had them playing at her party.
Mhm.
And that's how I met my husband today. He was the guitar player. I graduated from high school and I went to BYU, Idaho in Rexburg and um, got a degree there in English. And I dated other people and I dated a young man and we actually got married after I graduated from college. But a year and a half later, we got divorced.
Any children from that marriage at all?
No,
Okay.
no, which was
Yeah.
such a blessing. So yeah, it just was done that after the divorce, it was done. And I haven't seen him since actually. So it's been years and years, but
Must have been a little devastating for you though,
for sure.
because you have these expectations, and especially when you're in Rexburg, and that's just kind of what people do.
Yes, 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 exactly. It was really hard. I remember moving back home to my parents and going back to church where all those people had just come to my wedding reception.
Uh,
And I kind of felt like maybe like someone from the Bible with leprosy where people just kind of shunned me, but that's what I thought was going to happen actually. And because I thought that was going to happen, I felt that way, right? Because that's the story I was telling. But actually, people were so kind and they just reached out. And so many people, my parents were divorced or my sister got divorced, right? And they connected with me. And it was so deeply healing just to be seen and accepted and loved for where I was at, even though my story wasn't looking like how we all were thinking it would, or how we expected to or hope that it would.
so the best way, it sounds like, when you encounter people that have kind of gone through this loss and maybe feeling like they might not be worthy of being around other people, the best thing is to just embrace them and to talk about it, right?
Totally. Yes.
Don't ignore it.
For sure, for sure. I wanted to talk about it, but I didn't know who wanted to talk about it with me. I didn't want to sit there and be like, so I just got divorced. Like that's kind of
Yeah, you don't bring it
awkward.
up. Yeah.
Right. But for someone to initiate that and just say, in a very compassionate and empathetic way, like, hey, like, I heard you just got divorced. I'm so sorry. I know that's really hard. And I think that's being Sendy, is stepping out of your comfort zone. Sometimes we don't want to talk about taboo things, just all the things that just make us uncomfortable. But oftentimes, I think people are aching to not feel so alone and want to be seen and acknowledged and just loved and embraced. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And to have people remember things about you and to continue to check up too and see how
Yes.
you're doing afterwards.
Yes.
So you lived at home then?
So I had already graduated. So
Okay.
I was just working. So I said I was a homebody, but one of my dreams has always been to travel to another country to teach English. And after I got married the first time, I was like, I guess that like I just can't live my dream. Like there are some things that you just change your life.
Let go.
Yeah. And so after I got divorced, I was like, I think I need to leave. I just need to get away. I need to find myself again. I need to rediscover like who I am and my worth and my value and my connection with God. And so at this time, I found a program to teach English in Guatemala for 3 months. So I said goodbye to this guy and went to Guatemala for 3 months. And it was amazing and wonderful. And I really did some soul searching and yeah, just had to rediscover and heal.
Yeah. Tell me about the soul searching just a little bit. Like, did you come away from that with some new aspirations, some new goals? Did you like feel renewed? How was that for you?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that happened in the divorce was just kind of losing sight of my divinity and who I am. And so I didn't go to Guatemala and come up with new goals or anything like that, but I really was able to just come to peace and find strength in myself and my connection with God.
Service does that for you.
Yeah.
Right? Looking outside of yourself and helping other people helps you to realize that I'm not as big as I thought I was. I'm important, but I'm not the only, like the world does not revolve around me. And that's actually kind of liberating to realize that, right?
It is. Yes, it is. Yeah. It was a really special, it just was really grounding to be immersed in the culture with the people. I lived with a little family. I went to Chimaltenango. I didn't even know where I was going. I just knew I got on the airplane, and that was eye-opening too, getting off the airplane, and everything was in Spanish. And I was like, wait, where's the English? Like, I just was so naive.
I know. We're like, so like we have blinders on. We just don't even know what else is outside of our own world, right?
Yeah. So like seeing myself like step up into this space that was unknown, and seeing my own strength, and then, just serving others and loving others. It was just a really beautiful healing
Well,
thing.
it's very empowering. You know nobody, and you're just stepping on a plane to go out of the country for your first time, getting a passport, all of those big girl things that you have to do. That is super empowering.
So I came back from Guatemala, and then I was like, okay, that's it. I broke up with him. I broke his little heart, and he and was like, nope, not interested anymore. And then I went a few months and was feeling lonely, and thought, you know what? I think that I do want this person in my life. I think that he's got some great strengths that help balance me, and I want to choose him to be my companion. And so we ran into each other, and then reconnected and got married, and so.
We have these expectations, like for the type of person that we want to marry and whatever. And the truth is, how long have you been married now?
19 years.
19 years. Okay, almost 20 years. And I'm sure it's not been all rosy the whole time.
Totally.
You have to work at it, like
right.
all the time, right?
Yes, all the time.
Because there's going to be the problems that are going to be happening. And in your first marriage, you reached a point where you're like, yes, I could handle this, I could do this, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
There's a choice that's available to you there to say, like, I don't need to be coaching myself through this like for years and years and years. And I think God's got a better plan for me, which you were able to find in that second marriage. Doesn't mean it's perfect, but you can continually both work on making things better than they could be, right?
Totally. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think lately I've been thinking about just how marriage is like this companionship where you're sharing life together, but it's also one of the greatest relationships that you have to help you become Christ-like.
Yeah.
Because it's right in your face, these things that you have to look at yourself and say, how do I look at this? What do I do with this? How do I change? How do I soften? How do I humble myself? All these types of things. Marriage is that one relationship that's right there.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like you have a relationship that's super supportive, where you've been able to do a lot of these things that you've wanted to do, and your husband's been super supportive and encouraging to you. And that is a great place to be. So that's exciting. So tell me about some of the things that he's been supportive of you learning how to do.
It's just crazy. I'm just crazy things. Like he's always been good. He's always just supported me. I'll come up with these crazy ideas. Well, I don't feel like I come up with these crazy ideas. I feel like they're planted in me. And then I'm like, oh, really? This now? Okay. And then I have to take it to him, and he's like, go for it. And so one of those things was the forest therapy. I had to take a training course. It was 6 months online. And then I had to do an immersion, which was like a week somewhere else. And, we've got all these kids. And I just was like, how am I going to do this? He's working, and we just weren't sure how to make it work. And he just said, do it. So anytime I approach him with these, okay, I'm kind of feeling like I need to do this thing I don't know about. And he's like, just do it. Like, he's a great supporter.
So what made you want to do the forest therapy? Okay, first of all, tell me how old your kids were when you worked through this.
When I did the forest therapy?
Yeah.
So that means she was 12. Then my next one was 10. And then my next one was 9. And then 7. And then 5. And then 3. So I only had 6 at the time.
Okay. Yeah. And well, the point I'm making is, like, you don't have to wait until your kids, it doesn't make you a bad mom to go and chase some of these dreams, right?
Oh, my word. Exactly.
It actually makes you better.
I was just going to say that. Right? I was just going to say that. Like, I was worried about that. But in the training, one of the things we had to do was sit outside in the same spot for 30 minutes once a week. and with no phone, nothing, right? And I'm like, I don't have time to do that. Like, I don't. But I did. And it really slowed me down to be more present with my kids. Doing this was actually a blessing to my kids when I thought it was just going to be a burden to everyone. And so it does make following the promptings is not just for us individually. It blesses in a ripple effect.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Okay, how did you find that time? And like, I am so interested in this because I think it is so hard for us to put all of the distractions away and just sit.
I know.
What did you discover with all of that?
So the assignment was to sit in nature for 30 minutes. And so I would sit out on my front porch, and I mean, there's trees. And really in forest therapy, they say, nature's everywhere. So it's ideal that you're like sitting in a forest, right? That's like amazing. But if you can't, like, and I couldn't just go to a forest, and sit for 30 minutes. So, and what they really do is help you practice. The practice is to become more in tune with your physical senses. Like, what do you experience? Like, what do you hear? What's the farthest sound that you can hear? What's the closest sound? Like, what do you see? What are the colors that you see? I just started seeing things that I had never seen before that are always here on this street that I live on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's a little thing in the tree that I've never noticed. Or sometimes it would like sway in the breeze, and I would be like, wow, that was like a really special moment. Like, I don't know, there was just like a heightened awareness that was so, and then I was like, I love this. And then I started just doing it because I wanted to do it instead of like, I have to do this as an assignment. And so I think the greatest thing that I took from this practice was just slowing down and releasing myself from like the addiction of my phone and scrolling, or I just need to put my phone away and just be present and enjoy this beauty. Because
I guess I'm shocked because your kids were not like running over and like, Mom, Mom, Mom. That would be my kids.
I know.
Jump in my lap.
It took some training for them, and sometimes I just had to. Okay, no. This is my nature time. You can sit by me and be quiet. And also, it was not just looking at nature; it was looking at life. And so, if they were playing, watching them, and it was just a really special time to slow down and be more present and bring that gift to the kids too.
Great way to start it off too. It was an assignment. Okay, so everybody who's listening, you now have an assignment. Was it once a week?
Yeah, once a week.
Once a week, you have to sit in nature for at least 30 minutes with no distractions.
Yeah.
That's our assignment.
And sometimes, because people were taking this class from all over the world, and some lived in small apartments where they just had a houseplant. And so they would just sit next to their houseplant and look at it. And you really start to see and notice things and feel things that you don't when you're rushing through the day. So
interesting. Well, and those are the kinds of things that you notice at the end of your life too. That we hear is like, we're not missing all of the experiences. I just had Meredith Parfait on the program, and she's a death doula. And she talks about, the kinds of things that people talk about at the end on their deathbed. And it's not the bucket list things that they missed. It's the relationships, and it's noticing the little things. And I think being in nature, slowing down, super important. Man, I totally need that. I think, I run 100 miles a minute too. And so having that actually helps you to go a little bit faster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think that, sometimes, you think, no, I just got to get it done. I just got to get it done, when it actually is going to be a lot more productive for you to just sit still for a little while.
It recharges you. It just refills you. And yeah.
So as a certified forest therapist, right? Forest therapy guide. Okay. So what do you do as the forest therapy guide?
Yes. Okay. So we're very careful not to say that we're therapists, because we are not therapists, and we don't want people to think that we're going to go out in nature and talk about your problems, because that's not what the motto of forest therapy is that the guide opens the door, and the forest is like the healer, right? And so we're just, what our job is to take people into nature, and we guide you into tuning into your physical senses so that you have a heightened awareness while you're in nature. Oftentimes I feel like God wants to communicate, and he does it very easily when we're in nature. I've had many experiences where I've taken people, one woman would say, I was really struggling with my mother's, cancer and her death. And I saw these leaves on the ground, and they were dying, but they reminded me that there's life and beauty in all things. And people are just able to find their own personal connections once they're very present. And so as a guide, we start out with a few guided meditations to become in tune with your physical senses, to help you slow down. And then we offer invitations. So we'll say things like, okay, wander out and notice the texture all around you. And it's never like a goal, like go find the biggest rock, right? Because then it's like, okay, I got to go do this, right? But it's just like, notice the texture. And it's an invitation. So if you are looking at the texture and you decide you just want to lay on the grass and look at the clouds, you can do that. Or whatever you want to do. And you have a timer and you say, don't worry about the time. I'll call you back with like a caca, you know, let's do that. Come back to our little circle. And then we all sit down and then we offer up just, you know, what are you feeling right now? What are you experiencing? What are you noticing? And if you want to share, you can say, oh, well, I felt this, I found, you know, whatever. Or you can say nothing and just share with being present with everyone there. And so we offer a few invitations for you to kind of engage with nature that way. And then the final part of the walk is that we have a little tea ceremony. So when you come back, the guide has foraged herbs, edible herbs from where you're at, or they've brought some if there's nothing there. And then so that you're internally, you know, you're kind of internalizing this experience that you just had as we offer tea to the earth and to ourselves. And then we just have one more little sharing of what we're noticing in our experience and how we come to a closure of this walk. And it's really beautiful. It's a slowing down. It's a reconnecting. It's a connecting to each other, to nature, and to ourselves. And oftentimes it's just strangers, but there's like a safety in it that is just really, it's a really beautiful experience, and it's unifying. I feel like sometimes we're alone in this busy world, even though we have all these relationships, we just long for a connection. And so it's just this really sacred time where we package it for people so that they can have this, and then they go away just feeling replenished and connected and hopefully having some inspiration and things like that.
How many people are usually in a group?
I've done as few as 2 people, and I know some people that I trained with have, you know, done up to 15, but we usually prefer like just a very small, intimate group. I think the most I've done is maybe 6. So.
And is it kind of like once a week you get together and do something? And
so it's whenever. So it's not like a regular, unless they wanted to come back. It just every once in a while, I'm like, I think I'm going to offer a therapy walk, and I'll just advertise it. And anybody around the area says, oh, I want to come, you know, and then, so it's just kind of a random whenever I kind of.
Where you feel like it. I love it. Yeah, I do these Sendy Mom tea parties probably every other month or so, kind of whenever I feel like it, because I feel the same way. I think, you know, people just need that connection. I feel like it used to be that people would get together for coffee or tea.
Right.
And that's when they would kind of talk through all of their problems and things that were going on for them and get advice from other women. And we just don't do that very much anymore. And so I think it's important to be able to have those gatherings. So I love that you do that and help people. We're about halfway through this episode of the Sendy Mom Podcast. Our mission at Sendy Mom is to build, lift, encourage, persuade, and inspire women to feel empowered in their lives. If my conversation with Brittney has inspired you, share it with someone. Together, we can flood the world with real positive messages of strength and courage and help others realize that they are not alone. Help me by sharing this episode, reviewing it, and liking it. Find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and online at sendymom.com. My next episode will be in conjunction with the Podcastathon. This program highlights charities and good work that people are doing in the world. Podcasters all over the world unite in bringing attention to charities of their choice. I'm going to be talking to Svetlana Miller from To Ukraine with Love. Svetlana is a Sendy mom. You will love her story of courage. When war broke out between Ukraine and Russia in February of 2024, she didn't know how to help her family and friends in the Ukraine, but miracles put her in a unique position to help in a big way. She continues to support Ukraine. Every day, they feed 6,000 people hot meals. They match donors to individuals in Ukraine. There are some incredible personal stories, not only of feeding and housing people, but of connecting people and giving them hope. She's doing incredible things. Be sure to tune in to that episode. There are amazing charities out there. Start thinking of where you can give. Our next tea party will be on Friday, March 27th at 10 a.m. These are so much fun and a great way to chat with other Sendy women. Let me know if you need my address by emailing me at becky@sendymom.com. You can find dates and times of all the Sendy Mom tea parties and other events online at sendymom.com. Bring a Sendy friend. To receive an update every time a new episode is added and for special bonus content, you can subscribe at sendymom.com totally free. Also, I am offering free life coaching through August 2026. If you're interested in a free coaching call, please find my calendar attached to the show notes or online at sendymom.com. Sign up for a time that works for you. I coach in person or on Zoom. Enjoy the rest of my conversation with Brittney Barney. Okay, tell me a little bit more about deciding to write a book and how that came about, because that's a big task.
Yeah, so I've always loved to write, and I'm not much of a finisher, so I've started a lot of things, but I haven't ever finished. But this one was an experience during COVID. I wrote about it at the beginning of the book, where I'd read this book called Nonviolent Communication, and it has kind of like these steps on how to communicate without being, violent or mean in what you're saying. And so I was struggling, and the thought I had was to apply these steps of communication in my approach to Heavenly Father. And so I did that. And as I shared in the book, it was just a really special experience. And I thought, I think other people could benefit. And so I wrote it down, but I was like, okay, well, it was like this much, you can't like make a book this long, And so I just put it away and was like, okay, whatever. And then I just kind of got obsessed with like this idea of like, maybe there are other ways that we can connect with God. At the same time, I was doing this forest therapy, and I was like, wow, heightening my awareness of my physical senses really heightens my sensitivity to God responding to my prayers. They don't feel so one-sided anymore. And I thought, everybody needs to know this. Like, we're so busy, like we're such consumers of, media, electronics, and even like unhealthy food, just stuff that dulls our senses. We need to heighten our sensitivity. So I just started recording all my experiences, and it ended up coming into becoming a book, which was really exciting. And so I submitted it to Cedar Fort Publishing. They actually were like, no, we're not going to publish it. And so I was like, okay, maybe it's for my posterity. I don't know. It was a good experience for me to like have these experiences and write them down. We're always encouraged that in the gospel, in the church, to like write down your experiences. So I was doing that. And then a year later, last January, they reached out and they're like, actually, we do want to publish your book. We really like it. I'm like, okay, great.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's going forward and is able to touch a lot of people, but I think you have the right idea about it. I think sometimes we're confused a little bit about our motivation for doing things. And the real motivation that's actually going to produce results is because you can, and because you want to, and because it might be kind of fun, and because God tells you to, and you just do it.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And that can provide that's the lasting joy that can happen, because I'm sure you've run into like, not everybody's going to like the book, and not everybody's going to, jump on it, and whatever, even friends and family or whatever aren't going to read it. And sometimes that can be a little bit hard, but as long as you have that feeling of like, I'm doing this because this is what I feel like I need to do right now, then you can kind of weather that.
Totally. That's what I return back to too. I mean, it's been ups and downs, but to be able to return back to it and say, okay, wait, no, I actually did what God told me to do. That's pretty cool. Like, that's pretty amazing. I wrote this book, recognizing that like stepping into that space. Like we're here and we step into this space and then we step into another space. Every time we're Sendy and do what God tells us to do or do what we want, make a goal and pursue it, we're expanding, and that's pretty cool. That
is pretty cool. That's exactly what we're supposed to do on this earth anyway, right? So we just send it and see where it goes. So okay, so and then the music, have you done that like your whole married life?
No, so they started a private school locally. I was maybe just a little after COVID, and there was no music program. And I mean, I've taken, I took fiddle lessons. Just played the flute, lots of music stuff besides piano. And I just thought, you need a music program at a school. So I volunteered. I just said, hey, I'll just be we were sending my son there, and I said, I'll volunteer. I'll just be the, music teacher. And after a year, they said, we just want to hire you. And I said, okay, like my kids are in school now, and I would love to, bring this gift of joy and music to the kids. And so I started there. And then we felt like my third oldest daughter needed to go to another school. We found another private school. And as we were getting her signed up, they said, would you be interested in like teaching a band or orchestra class? And I was like, yes, I would love to. So I have the music background. I don't have like the technicality of each instrument. So that was definitely being Sendy for me. I was like, okay, I want to do this. I don't have time to learn how to play every instrument, over the summer before school starts. And so I've just had to just do it differently. I've had professionals come in and work with the kids individually and help get them going, because I can do the rest of it. And they're thriving. They're doing great. And so now I teach at two different schools. One is just like general music, and then the other one is band and orchestra.
Dang. Okay, Brittney, how do you manage your time with 7 kids and writing a book and promoting it and doing like these two different jobs? How do you do that?
Yeah, actually, I was wondering the same thing myself today. Like, what am I doing? How do I do this? Like, because they each, what's hard is the kids are getting older and they're taking lessons and they're doing self-defense and they're doing voice lessons and they're doing color guard and marching band, all these things. And I'm like, I only have one driver. Like my oldest is the only one who can drive right now. And I'm like, oh, how am I going to do this? Like, I don't know. But you know what? It happens. It just gets done. I don't know. And I think that's one of the blessings when you do what God is placing in your life. Like he provides a way.
And you stop worrying about it, right? I remember doing the same thing when my kids started getting really involved in a lot of different things. And I finally just stopped trying to schedule it all out. I just signed them up. I'm like, okay, we're just going to sign you up and it's all going to work out. And it always did.
It did. I know. That's the thing. Like, I'm just like, I don't know how this is all coming together and working out, but it is. It's really.
What time do you get up in the morning?
I get up at 6.
Okay. Yeah. So, that's early, but it's not like impossible, right?
No, I know. I would actually love to get up earlier, but the olders like to stay up late, and that's when we connect. And I'm like, okay, I'm not a night person, but I will be for you.
Yes.
So it's hard to balance that.
Oh, okay. So are you at any kind of a crossroads at this point in your life? You're getting ready to send off your oldest child to be an adult. Like what kind of crossroads are you at and what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, she's graduating this year. So just last week I was like crying every single day thinking about it. I feel like, the kids have their ups and downs, but at this stage in her life, I'm like, she's really fun to be around and I really like being around her. And so I'm sad to think about her leaving. But I know it's good and beautiful and it will be wonderful. But I do know that I'll probably feel just that emptiness, that when someone's not there. And so I'm just trying to figure out how to like be okay with that.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
I do feel like I also go through crossroads actually quite often every few years where I'm like, okay, I wrote a book. Now what? Do I write another book? Do I, start a music program at a school? Like, do I pursue my forest therapy more? Like what do I offer and where do I? And so right now I'm kind of in this space of like, all right, what things are just kind of going like this, and I'm like, what's happening next? I don't have a goal in mind. I'm kind of waiting for that prompting. Maybe I should just create a goal. I don't know. What do you do when you're there in that?
Well, no, I get there all the time, Brittney, and then I start a podcast, and then I start doing life coaching, and then like you just add more stuff on, but it's not adding, it's just like it's switching. So I totally get that. And so sometimes it's more fun to just make the goal than to actually do it. And so I love the idea of like just going out into the forest and praying about it and then just writing down whatever comes to your mind, and that's kind of fun. Like you don't have to commit to it. You don't have to say, I have to do this. You just
That's a great idea.
make the plan.
I love that.
And then you plan like a trip somewhere and you don't even have to go, but it's kind of fun to plan it.
That's a great idea. I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Or even connections, like right now my parents are getting older and my in-laws, and thankfully I haven't lost any of them yet. And I want to make sure that I have those connections before they go. And so I'm working with my parents we're planning a trip to England and Scotland to go see like all the genealogy sites from my family and stuff. And it took a little bit of convincing for my parents who are getting a little older. They're like, oh, he snores, and so we'll have to be in different rooms and all of that. But, so that's kind of fun for me now. And so if you could, like just choosing one thing to kind of focus and put your energy towards, and I think it's exciting, and tell people about it, but don't feel pressured to actually complete it all. It's just fun to talk about. Like nobody's going to hold you to it. If you say, well, actually, I want to go and work in Romania in the orphanages. Great.
Wait a minute. Why are you saying that? Or why did you say Romania and orphanages?
It was my goal when I was in college. I so wanted to go to Romania and work in and like help the AIDS babies. What was a thing back then. Yes. It's like, I just want to hold those little babies and make them feel loved and whatever.
My oldest, that is what she is doing this summer. She is going to Romania for the children in the orphanages.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So she did the HXP trip last year. And so she went to Romania and she's like, I have to go back again. And so she's going to do that. And I'm like, that is crazy that is the exact same thing that you would say, because
tell you what, we're connected. There's something there. Yeah, HXP is great. I did an interview with Amy Antonelli, who's the CEO of HXP, and she's incredible. Such a good episode to listen to. And I was there in the Philippines as a parent builder last year, which was cool. So I totally recommend that.
Okay, you should just go to Romania doing that.
I could.
You could. Put it on the list, right?
I know. It's fun to think about.
Yeah,
it might happen one of these. See, once you say it, that's the thing. Like, how did God create the world? With words, right?
Yep.
Or thought. You think it and it becomes.
Yeah.
So and then you say it and it becomes a little bit more concrete, and then
you said it.
But it doesn't mean that you have to act on every inspiration you have, because I don't know about you, but I feel like I get inspired to do things all the time. And if I were to act on every single idea that I get, I make myself crazy. And so there's some ideas that I have to just take out and say, you know what, I don't have time for that. Why don't you go and bother somebody else with that idea and let them do it? Because I think that's a great idea. And that is big magic. Have you read Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic? Okay, no. That's a good one too, because she talks about that, and it kind of takes the pressure off of you to act on every inspiration that you receive. Because of course, when you receive inspiration from God, sometimes you want to just act on it immediately, but sometimes it's okay to say, no, that's not what I'm going to do right now. And I'm going to pass that on to somebody else. And I don't have to feel bad about myself for not doing.
Yeah. We don't have to judge ourselves for that.
Don't judge ourselves. Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me about your ultimate goals. Like, what do you want to offer the world?
Wow. I think my ultimate goal is that I just want to see people. I have struggled in my life feeling unseen and unheard. And so I understand that people could feel that way. So the students that I interact with, and the people that come into my life, And that's why I love force therapy so much, is because we're seeing you, in this moment. And I just think, I don't know if I can offer that to the world, but I can offer it to the people in my world, that come into my world, and just let them know that like they are seen and they are a gift. Everybody has gifts, and each one of us, our lives are just gifts, and it's just a beautiful thing. And I want people to feel that from me.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I feel every time I have an interview with somebody, especially people that I don't know very well. I feel like I get so much inspiration and insight from them. And the way this podcast even began was because I was looking at all my neighbors and thinking, these people are so incredible. I just want to go to every single one of them and interview every single one of them and bring it out. Yeah. Which is because we are, and people need to be seen and heard, and just like you said. So I think that's a beautiful goal to have, and you're already doing it. So that's very satisfying, I'm sure. So I have a few rapid fire questions for you. All right. Tell me something that has brought you joy in the last 24 hours.
Let's see, something that has brought me good food. I love food.
That. Okay, now you have to share. What was the good food you had?
I have this recipe for butter chicken. It's a crock pot recipe, so it's really easy, but we had naan bread. We just had Indian food last night, butter chicken with naan bread and rice. And I love putting like some cumin seeds in the basmati rice. It just tastes so good. And I just love it. We all sat together as a family. For Christmas, my mother-in-law gave us Universal Yums. Do you know what that is? It's a box of goodies from other countries. So every month we get a different country. So we had our Indian food last night, and then we pulled out our box. It was from France. And there's, 9 of us, and we get like this little like Twinkie thing. So my husband's always cutting them into little pieces so we can all try. We just sit around the table and laugh and eat good or gross food. And it's just really beautiful. It makes me happy to be with my family.
Love that. What a fun tradition too. I love that. Cute. Yeah. Okay. What about a good book that you've read recently?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not done with it yet, but I'm reading one called The Amen Effect.
Okay.
Ancient Wisdom. I actually said it out because I knew you'd ask me this. Ancient Wisdom to Mend Our Broken Hearts and World.
Okay.
By Sharon Brous, I think.
Hey, I
really,
love that.
Really, really beautiful. About connection and seeing people. So it's just kind of aligned with what I like.
Okay. Yeah. Nope. That sounds very similar to what you've written about. So I love that. Okay. What about a documentary or TV show that you like to watch?
Okay. We just got Angel Studios. We found, it's called The Wayfinders. It's a cute little one.
Okay. I haven't seen it, but I think I've heard of it.
It's really cute. Like these kids, and then they like get like time warped, and it's like King Arthur's time, and they've got to get, anyway, it's just really cute and fun for the whole family. It's so funny. I just think it's hilarious. It's a great story, good message, everything. So
what a great way to kind of unwind too. This is why I put the question in, because my husband and I are always looking for good series to just be together on the couch or whatever. So that is fun. That's great. What about a nonprofit or charity that you support?
Okay. I support, I did. I don't know where I'm at on this right now because there's been some media stuff, and I don't know, but I'm just going to share anyway. I supported the Operation Underground Rescue Railroad. Okay.
Railroad.
I can't even say it. I just know. But I don't know, there's just been some stuff, but I really support our anti-human trafficking. And so I'm not sure where I stand on that right now. I kind of got caught up in all this stuff, and then I thought, this isn't uplifting to me. And so I stepped away from the media of following what's going on with that organization and the guy.
Yeah. Well, there are some really great organizations that you can contribute to that are anti-human trafficking. That, I have a very good friend who was trafficked in New York City, and she was on the podcast probably almost a year and a half ago or something like that. But she works with PACT. Let's see, Protection Against Child Trafficking, I think is what it stands for. And that is a great organization. They send her to different places in the country to teach like airlines or hotels or, restaurants to be able to recognize child trafficking and to tell them what to do when they recognize it. So she's done a really good job. She gave a presentation at my house at one point that I have on my YouTube channel that people can go and watch as well. So
Cool.
Kind of talks about that a little bit. So that's a great one. And then
Yes.
she was the impetus for Dahlia's Hope, which is also another organization that does the aftercare for people who have been rescued or have rescued themselves from trafficking. And the thing that I found really fascinating was, we all want to help. We don't want to see this horrible stuff happening. And so often we kind of force ourselves into their situation to release or to help them and whatever. And I think it's all really good intentions, but the real trick is that they need to release themselves.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think, let's look up river. Where is this all starting from? Well, it's people who are wanting that kind of entertainment. And so how do we disrupt that so that people don't want that kind of entertainment anymore?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
If we could fight that, then, there would be a lot of problems that would be resolved that way.
Yes.
But the fact is that we do have that problem, and we do the best we can in trying to love everyone and try to help them to find the resources that they need to be able to get out of those things. So I love that it's your goal as well.
Well, yeah, thanks for those recommendations. I'll look into them and
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Okay. What is something that you try to do every day?
Take my vitamins.
Good. I don't. I'm like the worst. I need to be so much better.
I definitely can feel a difference when I take my vitamins. So I'm like, I definitely need to take my vitamins. So I try
Okay.
to
What are your vitamins that you take?
I take their standard process. So one is iodomir. It's for like thyroid. So I was just so tired. I was just so tired. And so I think it's like iodine for your thyroid. It really helped me. And then Mintran is for the nervous system, to help my nervous system not be like so like.
I need that.
And I think that the one's called Zymex is for my gut health. So.
Oh, that's great.
And
Yeah,
then
no,
fish oil.
I think that every time like somebody mentions something, oh yeah, that's right. Vitamin C. I could probably do some of
Yes,
that.
and vitamin C. Yes, I do
Whatever.
vitamin C. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, how about somebody that inspires you from history? Is there anybody that really inspires you from history?
Actually, I think often about Mary and the scripture that she like kept these things in her heart and pondered them. Do you know that scripture?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm like spurt things when I'm upset. I need to like get it all out. And I just am inspired that she kind of just kept them in her heart and pondered and like sat with them. And so I kind of aspired to do that.
Oh, I love that. Me too. My husband tells me all the time, why don't you just think about it before you say it? I'm like, okay, noted. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so helpful. So that's great. Well, this has been so fun. You are my 40th interviewee. So hey, I'm going to have a little party about that because when I first started, I was like, okay, I'm going to do 100 of these. So I'm 40% of the way done.
Good job. That's great. Congratulations.
It's been really fun. And it's been fun to see people, enjoying it and, learning from all of the people that I interview. It's been really a joy for me. So I love all the things that we've been able to talk about today, being restored after having, a hard marriage and finding true love, finding, Guatemala and being able to kind of do some soul searching there, doing the forest therapy guide, being able to do that. How cool is that? And to be able to help people to connect again with God and with themselves and with the earth and to slow down and just for your own good, I think is lovely, really nice. And then being able to write a book about all of these things that you're learning. If you don't do it, who will? This is your contribution to the world. If you've got something to say, sometimes you just have to put it out there yourself. People aren't going to necessarily ask for it, but you just put it out there. So I love that you're doing that. And just learning more about you has been really a fun adventure. So thank you so much. So tell me, where can people find you?
I have a Facebook account and I have an Instagram account. The Instagram is more just my family, and it's private. You can follow me if you want to see pictures of my kids doing things. I don't know if that interests you. But my Facebook, I do kind of post every once in a while as well on that. So just Brittney Barney. Yeah.
Brittney Barney. Okay. All right. Well, it was so fun to talk to you today, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
In the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, do something every day that scares you.